Important signs of a dead-end relationship to look out for. Sometimes, what began as a passionate and happy union becomes something dull, frustrating, or even deeply unhappy. If this sounds familiar to you, then you might be asking yourself, am I in a dead-end relationship, or can we find a way to make this relationship work? While the end of a relationship is almost always painful and daunting, sometimes the only way you can thrive is to move on. But how do you know when you're just going through a rough patch and when you'd genuinely be better off apart? 7 signs of a dead-end relationship. Here are the most common signs you are in a dead-end relationship. A single sign should be viewed as a wake-up call, telling you that your dynamic needs to be adjusted if you're going to be happy. 1. You're bored. A massive warning sign that your relationship is over is that your partner just doesn't excite you anymore. In other words, you don't look forward to talking to them, you relish the idea of time spent away from them, and you find them predictable. This often extends to the physical realm too, where your partner's kisses might leave you cold and you may find yourself making excuses to avoid intimacy. Of course, relationships do become less explosive and more comfortable over time, but if you're with someone who makes you feel uninspired and glum, this person isn't the one for you. 2. You're trying to fix your partner. One of the most glaring dead-end relationship signs is that you're with someone who is more of a project than a partner. Do you view this person as someone who is so riddled with flaws that you have to change their fundamental nature? No one is perfect, but if you're trying to remake your partner from the ground up, then you aren't being fair to them or to yourself. You deserve to be with someone who you like and accept for who they really are, and your partner deserves someone who is able to offer that kind of acceptance to them. 3. You don't trust your partner. Trust is a tricky issue. Perhaps you were wounded in the past, or perhaps you're struggling to get over a previous breach of trust in your current relationship. It is possible to build and restore trust, so if you have difficulties in this area, then it's not a death sentence to your relationship. On the other hand, if you've tried and failed to trust your partner, or they're repeatedly proving that they don't deserve your trust, then you would likely be happier apart. While there may be small doubts in even the happiest relationship, a catastrophic lack of trust always erodes love in the end. 4. You don't feel like you can be completely yourself with this person. Anger and resentment in relationships often derive from a sense of being stifled or limited in some way. Whether your partner has tried to get you to change or you're just not confident that they'd like the real you, being inauthentic is a recipe for disaster. In the right relationship, you'll be with someone who feels like a best friend, someone who delights in your quirks and understands your personality. They should encourage you to be fully yourself. Without this feeling, your self-esteem will plummet and you'll be unlikely to reach your full potential, not only in romance but also in your career, and life more generally. 5. Your life goals aren't the same. Compared to the other unhappy relationship signs, this one is subtler. After all, there's never going to be a total overlap between your goals and your partner's, and there will be inevitable negotiations about issues like work-life balance. The real problem sign is if you and your other half disagree on substantive things like whether to have children, where to live, whether to be monogamous, and so on. When there's such a fundamental mismatch in your ideas of a happy and fulfilled life, one or both of you is bound to end up bitter in the end. 6. You always make the effort. When asking yourself, is my relationship dead? Make sure you consider the balance of power between you and your partner. In particular, if you're always the one suggesting dates, trying to look nice, instigating sex, or planning ways to improve the relationship, this suggests that your partner isn't willing to make the effort required to keep the dynamic fresh and satisfying. In some cases, this can be resolved with a simple conversation and an agreement to work to rebalance things, but in other cases, you'll discover that your partner just doesn't have the energy or commitment to do what's needed. 7. You can think of more bad things than good things. Finally, one of the most obvious signs of a dead-end relationship is that the cons dramatically outweigh the pros. If it's easy for you to come up with 20 reasons why your partner makes you angry, miserable, or bored, and yet you can't come up with even 5 reasons why you love this person, it's obvious why you should conclude the relationship is no longer meeting your needs. In less obvious cases, try writing down a real pros and cons list to help yourself gain some perspective on what you're really getting out of this relationship and what is fundamentally lacking. Do you agree with our list? Comment down below and don't forget to follow us for more relationship videos.